fruit after its kind. And the third day, that means all that happened without the aid of the sun and the moon. Because it's the power of God. And the power he had to bring forth light here, and to make light from that source, and to put it in this heaven, and all of that by his power and his great hand. All of these things truly sustain themselves of him. So they'll tell you, well, if the sun burn out, all the life on earth will die because the trees need light. But I'm not totally convinced that that'll happen. We believe everything that they tell us. From what I see in creation, it's possible that at least plant life can live without the aid of the sun and the moon. Because it came forth, if you believe the word, without the aid of the sun and the moon. Not saying God didn't use some light or heat source, but it's something he brought forth until he brought forth these sources to keep it constantly lit and constantly heated. I mean, if God and these angelic beings and all these elves, if all of these beings are doing this together, if we are to believe like Ezekiel and like the prophets tell us that when God sit on the earth in Jerusalem, didn't it say that the city wouldn't need the heat of day or light? Is that what the prophets tell us? Don't the prophets tell us that? Yes, sir. That when God sit on the earth, that Jerusalem will not need the sun or the light by day. It won't need the moon by night or the sun by day. Why? Because it said the Lord is there and his glory lighteth it. Him and all this host of heaven lighten this place. That you can't tell the difference between day and night in Jerusalem when God is there. Is that what we read in the prophets, brothers and sisters? So if we read that, if God and this same host was creating all of this and were doing this on the earth, bringing forth all of this, do you think the earth was lit and had a heat source from their presence when they was on it, doing what they was doing? Just think about that. It's an explanation for all this stuff. Now, we see, y'all see my little drawings of jellyfishes and crabs and little fishes and whales? Y'all see that? It looked like little stuff out of the that little cheese cracker box with little fishes and stuff. That's what they look like, don't they? And then you got the little birds I got. And didn't God give a commandment for the birds to fly where? In the open firmament of heaven, but is they flying in outer space? No. So we know that between the earth and what they call the ozone, the protective barrier called the ozone, that's called heaven. Because the birds fly in it, and it's called heaven, ain't it? And then above that is where the sun, the moon, and the stars and the planets sit, and that's called heaven too. And then above the waters that are above that is where God sit, and Paul said in a vision, it seems, he saw one caught up to the third heaven. So you got first heaven in our midst, you got second heaven, which is outer space, and above that, and above the waters above that, is what I believe is called the third heaven, where the throne of God sits right now, where he sit, where the Messiah is sitting right now, where them holy angels sit right now. And once we look at it, we see that biblically it all makes sense, don't it? I'm like Paul, why is you calling that place where God said the third heaven? Because I seem to understand where the first and the second heaven are. You understand? So we also see that, where did birds come from?
The water.
The water. So when scientists say they see a similarity between the ancient fossils of sea creatures and early earth flying creatures, I ain't got no problem with that, because the Bible say that the foul wing of the air came forth from what? The sea.
Even just to
Go
that
ahead.
point,
No, edify.
even look at penguins. Penguins are part of the bird family.
Yeah.
They primarily habitate where?
In the water. You even got pelicans. You got other creatures, they live and fly above the water and the earth, but when they want to eat, they go down in it. You got pelicans, and I've seen these. Y'all, I got pelicans on video. You got pelicans, and I've seen them dive down in the water. They go down there and swim a little bit, get some fish, and come back up out of it, wet and everything. It can still fly and find land somewhere. So, brothers and sisters, in the fifth, you got fish that come up out of the water with wings and fly. And they fly. I remember a guy used to tell me, as a matter of fact, brother or not, he told me when he was in the Navy, when he was young, they used to see flying fish, and when they was bored, guys would shoot them on the deck of the battleships. It'd be these fish and they come up out of the water and they'll fly past the ship. And he said they'll try to shoot them out the air sometimes when they was bored. Hey!
You know, flying things come out the water.
Yes, sir. Flying things come out the water. We got the birds and we got the sea creatures. Okay, so let us go on to the last thing for the day, which is this last illustration. Brother, go ahead now and read verse 26. I mean, excuse me, verse 24, if you will.
And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping things, and the beasts of the earth after his kind, and it was so.
So the earth now in the 6th day brings forth the animals that walk and live on land, insects, bugs, and all manner of four-footed beasts, lions, tigers, dogs, cats, giraffes, hippopotamus, rhinoceros. All of that stuff you could think of was done in this day, in this time. Verse 26.
And God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
Now, brothers and sisters, only thing I didn't draw in the last one, because I ran out of space, is I didn't draw animals, like, you know, cattle and stuff like that. But in this 6th day, God make the creatures that live on dry land. And then, last of all, he said, I'm going to make man. And this idea he had for man was to make this creature after his own image and after his own likeness. And as this creature carries his image and his likeness, this creature will have dominion over all the animals on the earth and over all the creatures of the sea that God made, birds, whales. So we know this to be true because when you go to marine land and you see a killer whale jump through a hula hoop, you know man got control over that beast. Right? A killer whale that I don't, even though I see y'all doing that, I still don't think that's safe. But there's proof that y'all can do that. When me and my wife took a little vacation, I went to a hotel that had an underground pool in it. When you walk on the bottom floor of the hotel, it's like walking in an aquarium. They had stingrays and everything in there. How did the stingray get in there? Man put them in there. You understand that? They have fish in there that glow. How them things get in there? Man put them things in there. Then I go to the local Buffalo Zoo and see vultures and eagles and hawks. Got in the zoo, lady got an eagle standing on her arm. How that eagle get there and why he don't just fly away is a change. Because for some reason he gonna stay there and listen to this woman that says stay on my arm. Okay, now I'm gonna put you back on this tree. I'm seeing elephants at the circus standing on buckets with one leg balancing balls on their trunks with earrings on. Why did the elephant just do that? Like, look what I can do, I'm hungry. I do this for food. Or did the man teach this big beast to do that? I'm seeing guys on motorcycles and women with whips make lions and tigers not fight each other, stay in the same cage, and jump through rings of fire. Did they just see lions and tigers doing that and say, hey, can we sign y'all to a contract? We want to put y'all in this show. Or did they teach these animals and subdue them and have rule and control over them to the point they can make such a ferocious beast as a lion do that? And not go attack the tigers. Because them and tigers don't even see each other in nature. I don't think nothing like that really happened since the Garden of Eden. Lions live out on flat plain lands and tigers live in jungles. They don't cross each other's path in the wild. But in this circus, they was together. Lions on this side, tigers on that side. They roaring and everything, but ain't nobody fighting nobody. Every now and again, you get something that happened, like what happened to the guy in Las Vegas with his animal just clawed him. But Genesis talk about that too. They get the chance, they gonna attack you because they scared of you, actually. Brothers and sisters, man. And I got, y'all see my little hangman male and female.